All right. Hello and welcome to the Handelabra Dev stream. I think this is happening. Let me just double check the OBS here. Yep. Okay. That's looking good. Welcome Merfunder and Deck Show and anyone else watching. I'm pretty much just going to be working on Bottom of the Ninth here, and you can see what you think of it and let me know if you have any questions in the chat. And so on. If you want to make sure to get my attention, make sure to put at Migrant P, and I think Jeremy's going to be in the chat as well to answer any questions if people have them. Cool. So we're building Bottom of the Ninth like we built Sentinels in Unity, and I'm pretty much going to be working. I'll talk about what I'm doing and stuff. I don't talk to myself all the time normally, but I will do it for you. And I'm being listened to while someone else works by Carl Cadaver. Cool. Jeremy's not really supervising. I think he's just listening. He doesn't get to actually see me work because we don't work in the same place. All right, so I've got a few items that I was looking at doing. We use Trello to organize our workflow for all of our development. I highly recommend it if you are doing software development or basically organizing anything. It's pretty cool. So the first thing I was thinking of taking a look at is implementing another card that we don't have in the game. Well, it's in the rules, in the logic part, but it hasn't been implemented in the view yet. So let's check that out. So that's going to be Kiddo Hero, and so Jean-Marc has programmed that card in the engine, and we can bring it into the view. So I'm going to have a look at what Kiddo Hero does here. So generally what we're concerned about most of the time in Bottom of the Ninth is their special abilities. The regular abilities are pretty straightforward. The Forsaken One asks, have I tried Basecamp? I have used Basecamp and I'm not a fan. But I think it's good if you have like clients that you need to communicate with because it works well for that sort of communication stuff. Yes, I'm rocking the CBC shirt today. I actually got this in, it's a Radio 3 shirt. I got this here in Toronto a few years ago, last time I was here. Cool. So Kiddo Hero is, if he gets both red and white, he gets to use white or red, and the batter must choose their pitch tokens. That seems like a typo. Boop. Blindly in the next stare down. We've got the spoiler spreadsheet here. And then his ace pitch, which can happen regardless of whether, like you need to get part of it, but that's beside the point. We have a changeup. If the swing result is a natural 5 or 6 versus a strike, the batter must re-roll their swing. All right. So the first thing I generally do when getting a new card going is just put it in and see what breaks. So the first picture here, I have a little debug thing that I can set up how I want. Kiddo Hero. All right, so we'll run that, and oh yeah, so we got an error straight off the bat because the definition has no abilities. What? You're gonna get it rough and ready here. That's weird. Oh, I wonder if the identifier hasn't been changed. Or it has been changed and I typed it in wrong. It's hero, like spelled the Japanese way. Oh, Jean-Marc's in the chat saying W00000 code. All right. So the first thing you'll see, we've got the UI here, and we've got a couple unknown ability text. That's because there's abilities that the view doesn't know how to describe in the ability things there. So that's the first thing I'm going to take care of is, let's just close the other files here. So the ability type is force reroll. Okay, and then we also got the blind pitch tokens, choose any. All right, so let's stop that and handle this. And we'll just make a new case here. Let me see what that force reroll, does it have any properties or anything like that? Right, so it's just, this one is just a special, so probably I'm just going to add a body text onto it because it doesn't have any sort of property that we need to like dynamically set up at the time, so I'm just going to fill that in here. And then the view is going to be more of a, I think there's no, let me just bring up the force reroll here. The ability controller, yeah, it doesn't have any properties, it's a fixed thing, so, and we can change that in the future, but for now I think it's fine to just have a fixed body for it. I think there's other ones are set up in a similar way. And so you'll notice we've got like a lot of the setup of the cards. We're actually, if you watch the previous streams about Sentinel's development, we basically we program every card in Sentinels, but in Bottom of the Ninth we're trying a different approach where we're programming different abilities, and then the cards sort of are composed of abilities. And so each card doesn't have a class in Bottom of the Ninth like it would in Sentinels. And I'll just call it this. And I think there's a title as well called Change Up. If you're wondering, I don't normally work full screen, but I'm doing this for the stream. I normally have my, I'm on a MacBook Pro, and I normally have my screen set to much more compact resolution, higher DPI. But this works a little better for the stream, and it's not too bad. I did my master's thesis and all the work for that on a 12-inch iBook, so I'm pretty comfortable working on a small screen. Yeah, so that's change up. And I want, though, finding my window is definitely something I'm not used to. All right, so let's rebuild that DLL. Oh, everyone's in the chat. And we'll go back into Unity here. And I think I didn't even change that, did I? Yeah. So Unity recompiles, maybe. Come on, Unity. Oh. There we go. So you should see what I put in there for that ability. Since it has a title, it doesn't need to worry about the class. Or I wrote a bad file. That can happen. What did I do? What did I do? Well, that's why we have a handy website called JSON Formatter. Brought to you by Curious Concept, apparently. I don't know. It's pretty great. Throw in your JSON. It tells you where your problem is. Oh, I missed a quote. And it formats it nicely for you and everything. Oh, I got the answer in the chat, but that delay, I was able to fix it before the Twitch delay. All right, let's go back to Unity here. So yes, this is a little bit more of the reality of programming. It's not all magically working like in the more produced dev streams we have before. Was more of a guided experience. This is the real thing. You get errors and you look on the internet how to fix them. That is a big part of programming these days. Okay, so we got the change up there, but there's still an unknown type, which is that blind pitch tokens one. Let's see what that involves. So that's the red and white ability. Okay, so that one might be a little more of a programmatic thing. Right, so this one has, we've made this one so, you could have a pitcher that's like Kiddo Hero who has a different sort of structure there. So let's go ahead and handle that in our case here. I like to put my case things mostly in alphabetical order unless there's a good reason. Like there are some switches where we'll put them in like a different ordering because it's like the states of the game, right? And so that reads really well. Yes, reloading game windows of Googling is how that's life. All right, and also doing this, making sure what you're doing is going to show up before going further. Just seeing if we get that foo in the label. And there it is. Okay, so this ability has to do with, it's a typical choose any, but we've got a special thing there. So let's just put that in a comment here. So it's basically going to be like X and something else. And so we have some helpers in this to help build those strings. And it's been a little while since I did this, so let's make sure I know what I'm doing. Right, so the ability choices are going to be those ones. And so I think let me go to the class here, or the description. So we just have a typical and or, and the number. Okay. Oh, come on. Right, so it's a subclass of a choose any ability controller. So it's going to work the same way. Okay. All right, so let's go over to this. So it's going to be similar to the choose any. And so we're going to want basically this part of it with the other things in front. All right. And so we want some text for that abilities. Let's see what this does. I think this is going to do what I want. I'm not sure if that and if this means the and or in between them. Oh, that's the wrong one. But we'll see. Let's see what we come at. Part of this like this thing here is like, at the moment we just have the one card that's using this ability, so even if we take a shortcut here a little bit in the future, we can upgrade this display. Alright, so let's just go to the scene view so we can see what that label is doing better. Right, so we need to have the or in there. It's also really tiny, but there's a lot of text in that one. Maybe figure out how to deal with that later. Okay. So we'll just put an or in between for now, and that will do what we want. Someone's stealing my charger, but hopefully I'll be okay. Alright, so we have our little label there that says red or white, and the batter must blah blah blah, which I think is what we want it to say. Well, white or red. I don't think it matters. If it matters, we will sort them. I don't think it does. Alright, so that's just the display. That's just the display in the abilities thing there. Now we need to see if it's going to work. Spoiler alert, it's not going to work. So let's get let's see what happens if we just get both. So as the pitcher, I chose high and away, and the batter, I'm going to choose low and inside. All right, so nothing happens just yet. We'll go through a pitch here. Batter rolls to swing, to strike. All right, so the batter's supposed to have to choose blindly. And so if we choose, like the pitcher here, the batter's not supposed to be able to pick one. They're supposed to just have it chosen for them automatically. So I'm going to stop there and I have a debug helper here, so I'm going to continue the game from that spot. So when we resume here, we should have one strike, and right, we're choosing pitch tokens. So what we should get, I'm going to add something here to the debug about having it select blindly. So right, we're printing the activation. I don't think the activation says anything about that. So let's just put a quick debug log in here. Blindly. Oh, and I actually want this. Must select blindly. All right, so you might notice putting debug logs in is one way to debug or figure out what's going on. Debugging in the editor in Unity is possible, but a pain in the butt. So if you have the power to do that, you can do that, but it is usually quicker for me to just have a debug line and see what's happening in the console. Or putting in a break is really handy because it'll pause the editor. So the first one with the pitcher blindly is false, but if Jean-Marc's done his job right, it should be blindly true, but that is not the case. I wonder if that's not being saved in the model. Let's find out. If it's not, I'm not going to continue this. I'm going to make a bug report for Jean-Marc because I don't want to have to go through 2 pitches every time I'm going to try to implement this. Right, so we want to get both. So high and away, low and inside. Oh, right, I didn't click the button. But no, there's no button. Unless... Yeah, abilities are normally optional, but this one says must, and there's nothing here about, well, there are 3 activations. Maybe I forgot I didn't activate it. It's my own fault. Let me see what the activations are here. Yeah, the red ability, the white ability, and continue. Okay, well, I'll just keep the dice here and see what happens. Sure, batter, you can get a strike. Blindly is false. Blindly is true. All right, so we have a state issue here. So the problem was when I'm doing this now, it's working fine, but when I loaded the game, it wasn't. So I'm going to go over to Trello and make a card for Jean-Marc. Ho ho! This is all part of the process. Make sure not to click on anything secret. Kiddo hero, no. Must select blindly is not preserved in game state. If you resume the game, or if you load a game, then it's false when it should be true. And maybe Jean-Marc will fix that while I'm doing this, and we'll be able to get back to it. But for now, oh, he's on it. So I'll put his head on that. Look at this. It's like you're actually getting a dev stream of the whole team. Because Jennifer's working on other stuff too in bottom of the ninth. All right. So, okay. So this is, I'm just going to add checklist. Both ability and MVP ability, or base pitch. So we're blocking on that at the moment. Well, not 100% blocking, but it's going to be annoying to do. So we still have the other part, which is the MVP, the ace pitch. It's the special, as we call it, because it's basically their special ability, no matter whether they're a pitcher or batter. So we have the changeup. If the swing result is a natural 5 or 6 versus a strike, the batter must re-roll. And so one thing we have to help that in our debug helper here is a way to fix the dice. Because otherwise it'd be like, all right, roll, right, just keep trying until you get the right roll. That's obviously not very productive. So I'm going to say we're going to throw a strike, and it can be any number for the pitcher, and we'll say it's a natural 5 for the batter. And we have to use the ace pitch, so I'm going to do that. And the batter just has to not guess the pitch exactly, but I may as well pick the opposite. All right, so surprise, surprise, it's a strike 3. And we can keep that. Oh, it doesn't show that I got the ace pitch. Sometimes there's something funny about how these get shown or not. So that's something that's still an outstanding thing. So we got the 5, and he didn't have to re-roll. All right, well, there's no errors or anything here. Let's try it again and make sure it's not. I mean, we have Dan Martini. One thing that I like to do is like just put in a test batter, because the test batters we have don't have any abilities that can cause problems when we're trying to do stuff. So put a strike, natural 5, and a 3. All right, low and away. And the batter guesses high and inside. But the low, that's weird because that normally doesn't happen. All right, something's funny there. And I think that might be why it's not working, is because it's not like thinking that he actually has that ability. Because normally that should be there. And I can, yeah, then we just get a regular contact. I'll show you that stuff later. But if we put like, let's just put Leslie Lou here, and when we get there, ace goes. So high and inside, yeah, the high seam fastball is there. So something is up. And I'm going to add another card for Jean-Marc. I mean, it's a back and forth thing. That happens. Kiddo Hero, when I get the ace pitch, it's not active. All right. And of course, I would chat with Jean-Marc about that right now, but obviously we're doing this stuff. So I'm just going to move that card back because we're stuck for a moment, but I'm going to go ahead and commit my work. And that's something I haven't shown, but if you are not using source control for your game, you should. Even if you're working on something by yourself, you should always be using source control. So I'm going to just say here that basically all I did was support Kiddo Hero's ability in text form, basically. All right, and I think Jennifer committed something, so I'm going to pull her changes in. Jean-Marc says, the real purpose of this stream is to recruit a new programmer to replace me. No, you're irreplaceable, Jean-Marc. All right. So, all right, what else do we got here on our list? We could try programming another card, but let's do something else, because I think Jennifer committed an animation that I can use. Yeah, adding a new animation. So I'm going to push up my commit here, actually, because I pulled her changes, so I had to push up the merge commit. So one thing I want to do here is we have a running animation when there's contact, but we don't have a walk animation if you walk to first base. So I want to have that. So let's first go ahead and see what happens on a contact. So we have already fixed the dice to make contact, so that's going to be easy. So this is a small demonstration, which I wouldn't normally have to do, but that's fine. So the pitcher picks whatever and the batter picks whatever because we're not going to change the dice. And we'll keep them. And the batter's going to roll. A 5. We'll keep that. So we make contact. All the animations you see here, basically it's at the point where we've got the sequence happening of what we want, but we haven't refined all the timing and the exact details and stuff. So here we see the batter running. The ball's already got there, obviously timing, and the first baseman isn't there for various reasons. So, both players roll the dice. These things need their physics adjusted to roll better. Then we can say safe, and then the first baseman comes over after. I'm not sure why, but we'll figure that out. So that's sort of how contact works. But if the batter walks to first base, we don't actually have an animation for that until now. But I think Jennifer put in an animation. Oh, it's not in there. It's not in the animations. It's in the model. So here's the running animation where the bat gets disabled when he's running. Otherwise, it looks pretty hilarious. And then we have a walk animation, which is probably going to be similar, just like a little slower. Yeah, sure. Okay, and so just seeing if they interested in the chat. Dragon4240 asks, is there any plans to add the hitting table to the UI? Probably not that. I mean, you'll be able to look up the rules and stuff, but it'll tell you, like, we're planning to add a thing to tell you, like, sort of what's going to happen based on the current dice and that sort of thing. It could be something you pull up as a quick reference, potentially. Okay, so we want to have that batter do a running animation. So we have a script that's basically handling what's going on in the background view that's responding to things that happen in the game. So it's actually it's different than a regular baseball game. Like if you think of a regular baseball game, the what's happening in the graphics is actually more driving what's happening in the game logic, right? If like it's going to be all physics driven and you hit the ball and it goes somewhere and you throw the ball to first and that determines who's out. But in this, it's more of like there's other stuff happening and then the background is like sort of showing what happened. You know, the engine says, oh, the batter was safe because they rolled whatever, and then it shows that happening. So it's a little different kind of setup. So it's more of the background is reacting to the game as opposed to the background driving the game or the graphics driving the game. So when we are, there's a section here where we're handling a throw pitch action, which is the pitch result, basically. And this code is making sure that the batter is going to swing or not. So if it's a ball, we don't have to do anything. Unless if it's ball 4, we're going to have to take a walk. And let's just see what happens right now, because I don't know what happens right now when we take a walk. I also don't want to have to do 4 pitches, but we might have to once. So we'll say the batter's going to swing, unless I think there's a hit by pitch thing, but that's a whole other thing. That's another thing to deal with that we haven't dealt with yet. Might be a quicker way to do it, but I guess we have this. Ball 1 is hit by pitch, batter advances to first base. Oh yeah, why don't we do that? All right. So ball 1. So this is a trait of Leslie Liu, a bit of a wild pitcher. All right, so if we do whatever, we're going to roll a ball 1. The batter still rolls, and it's hit by pitch. And so the background doesn't really know what to do in this case, so nothing's happening. The batter's just staying there because it doesn't know what to do. But what we need to do is get it to walk to first base, basically. I think, yeah, it did turn off the bat, so that's pretty easy. Reproduce and step to debug this, or build this feature. I guess it's not really debug. So here, when so here we have the result, and if it's hit by pitch, we need to, sure, we're playing a hit by pitch animation. That's fine. We also need to get the batter to walk to first base, and so let's just put that in here for now, and then we'll probably factor it out into a method. So we have another routine here when we're doing the run rolls. So we could do it there, or we could also do it in the advanced runners action. That might be a better place to do it. So maybe we'll put it in here. And I don't want to do this. I guess we have, yeah, that's fine, the hit by pitch animation. So we're going to move the batter into the base runners, and I want to advance all the base runners. So we have this routine, move all runners to next base. And yeah, let's try doing that in here. I think, yeah, basically everyone's going to walk at the same time. So the run rolls is sort of special because it sort of has a different timing than everything else. Right, we don't actually need, yeah, we don't have to do that. We can do this. So we're going to, all runners walk at the same time, sure. We'll move the base runners up. And so what that function does, oh, and we want to say false actually, because that parameter is whether they're running or walking, which isn't actually used yet. So the batter goes to first. I guess, yeah, the batter's always the first. Is that right? think I have them in the wrong order. Well, that's okay. With one batter, it's all the same, and then we'll figure it out after. Right. Yeah, we actually want to add the batter to the front of the list, I think. Right. So we either want a running animation or a walking animation, but this should actually move the batter to the base. So that's something to check to make sure as a sanity check that's going to happen. All right, so let's hit the batter. And we can actually skip a step here by doing the continue game thing. Because actually I can just stop here and load the game from that spot and save a little time. Or even from this spot. All right, hit by the pitch. Oh, and there he goes. Well, that's nice. This animation is not supposed to play this time. I don't know why that does, and I might want to fix that. Yeah. Okay, so the batter went to first base, and he didn't stop running or walking, so that's a problem, which we're going to want him to do. And but I did go to the right spot. And he's in there as a base runner, which is good. All right, so let's go back here and all right, so we're doing the move all runners to next base, and that just like moves them there. And that's it. So right, so if we're not running, we want to be walking. So let's do that bit first. So we're going to, and this, yeah, this shouldn't be doing that. That's just some relic. So we sort of have different methods for these because we might want to do some different things, like maybe drop the bat or whatever, depending on what's going on. So we have some different methods here for that. So let's have a walking animation as well that we can configure on a per meeple basis if we want. I think the animation Jennifer made is called batter walk. But we'll default it to that one. Batter walk. Walker. This is not a zombie game. All right, so we'll play the walking animation, and then we'll want to go to idle when they get there. So if we're running, we'll play the running animation. Otherwise, we'll play the walking animation. All right. And those might end up being the same routine with the parameter potentially sometime, but I'm okay doing it that way for now. Right, so the animate run rolls is sort of special because we have that sort of interaction where you're rolling dice and maybe you take 5 minutes to roll the dice or whatever, and the animation has to slow down. So we have a whole mechanism here where the animation is slowing down. But when we're just walking to first base, you don't need to worry about that because you just walk to first base and that's it. And so we want to basically just do this animation as an animation, not as something we need to worry about taking a certain amount of time. All right, so now we should actually see the walking animation happen instead of the other animation. So let's verify that happens. And I think I might not be able to continue the game anymore because I went too far. I need to add a debug way to skip ahead or something like that, but don't have that yet. I guess I just hit the next batter. Yeah, we skipped ahead too far. So it's not too much to just roll a couple dice. What? The same field name is serialized multiple times. All right, hang on. Probably. Okay. So we have another subclass of this background player, which is background pitcher, and it has a walk animation. So, okay. I'm just basically okay. We want to actually overwrite this for the and actually I will call this play walk animation, sure. But it can be overridden by subclass. All right, and we'll have to get the picture. The picture is a picture walk. All right, and I have more errors. Right, because I didn't fix the call. Play walk animation. I need to clean up some of these things. What? I already got rid of that. Maybe I didn't save this file. Save the files. All right, let's see what happens now. We'll throw ball one. Hit by pitch. There. Yeah, that's the walking animation, I think. Let's go have a look at the batter here. Where are you? And look at his, I don't know if you can look at his like animation thing and see what's happening right now. Maybe, but that looks right. He's doing that little rocking animation, I think is a little different. So that's good. And we want him to stop when he gets to first base. We actually want everything to stop and sort of watch him go to first base. That's probably ideal. One of the problems is that this method the game doesn't wait for it. I don't think animate game action is, yeah, we don't wait for it. And that's something I have to look into doing. Sometimes some animations we want to sort of wait and do the animation. But for now, let's just get him to go to first base and stop animating, and then the other thing is probably outside of the scope of doing on the stream here. All right, but at least we can yeah, I think this method here, throw pitch action, yeah, it just has the same issue that the actions it doesn't wait for them to finish, which sometimes is what we want, sometimes it's not. We need a better way to sort of indicate that. All right, they walk at the same time. I think I kind of want to add a parameter to this, which is whether we want to stop the animation when we get there. stop animation upon arrival. All right, and so then I think basically here we're just going to wait. So if the stop animation on arrival is true, we're going to, whoops, oh, I didn't know I could do that. I'm trying to like scroll Unity style in the editor, which is not a good idea. So if we're going to stop the animation when we get there, which is going to be useful in some cases, we're just going to wait until the runner is there. And I think, so this is a coroutine, so we want all this stuff to happen first, and then we want to check to see if we should stop it after. So what's the best way to do that? I guess the batter can be responsible for doing that. That might be better instead of having this wait for it. Yeah. Because the batter knows, or the players know that they can have a target that they can walk towards and stuff. So let's put a parameter in here, which is stop upon arrival at target. And here we can say, if we're going to stop when we get there, I think we have a target. Oh, is that only, that's in the batters. Well, that doesn't have to be, no, it's not there. Oh, right, okay. I think the move just like, right, it's the nav mesh agent, which is a Unity AI thing that you can use, that we're using to say, basically go towards this spot. Basically we're going to just go forever until we get there. So let's see. I don't know if the nav mesh agent can tell us. Oh yeah, remaining distance. Look at that. All right. So while the remaining distance is greater than, I think stopping distance is, yeah, let's try that. So we're just going to wait until it gets there. Wait until we get there. Now we have arrived. Play idle animation. All right. And we'll say resume idle animation, sure. That looks good. So let's go back to our background thing, and we still can have that as a parameter, or maybe, I don't know if we ever automatically stop. Yeah. I'm just going to make it always pass true for now. I think we have the same problem where the runners don't stop running. But let's see how this works. This should stop the runner running if I don't have an error, which I do. What? Oh, right. This has an override. Well, maybe I won't override it, and we'll figure that other. I don't think it needs to be overridden, actually. Let's do that for now. I don't think the picture needs, we can handle hiding the ball separately, probably. And no overload takes 0 arguments. And actually, yeah, in this case, we want it to stop. Yeah, so here, like we'll just tell them to not show the ball. I think I'd rather that than have an override just for that. Let's see how we do here. Hopefully this is interesting to anyone. This is basically just working. So, and more talking out loud than normal. Just saying what I would normally just be thinking. Stay hydrated. All right, let's do that. Roll the dice. Ball 1. OMG. All right, so our batter goes on his way. Oh, I think it stopped. Something funny happened there. It did go back to the idle animation, but it also something happened wrong. It seemed to stop playing the other animation. Oh, yeah. Let's stop here and see. I wonder if this should just be like small. It looks like maybe it went through this too fast. Is it my typical amount of mad cackling? Wouldn't you like to know? I thought that maybe like if I had the chat on here, it would like play a sound when someone ats me, but it doesn't. So I don't know if there's like is there a setting to like make sounds? In-app notification settings. No. I don't know. Just have to, it doesn't even highlight the thing on iPad like it does on the browser. It's weird. So I just have to look once in a while. All right. Let's see what's happening here. Okay. All right, hit by the pitch. Oh yeah, so it's like it's stopping right away. It says we got there. Oh, because it's probably since it's at the first waypoint. Maybe that's what it's like. That's weird. I've never used this remaining distance thing. I guess one question is, when are we playing that and when are we saying move? That might be a good question. Maybe that is not. Oh yeah, see? Here we go. Calling, he's already at the destination. Look at that. So we just need to tell him to move where he's going before playing the animation if we're going to do that. So, and then I'm going to go, I think K epsilon is probably not a good thing to use. I don't know. I don't know if that is 0. That's stopping distance. Let's see. Yeah, the stopping distance is 0, so actually K epsilon is probably better to use. Jean-Marc is fixing a bug. You should at Magnum P though, because Jeremy probably isn't gonna have anything to do with it. Did I save? Did I save? That's always a thing. Let's save this, and I'm just gonna note here. Make sure to move. Set the target first, so that the animations can know when to stop. It does tag me. That's funny. It shows up as blue there, but it didn't show it when Decade Show posted it. I don't know. Jean-Marc asks, for the ace pitch is only active the batter rolled a 5 or 6 and the pitch die is strike. Was that the case? It was, but I was fixing the dice, so it's possible that that isn't handled properly because of randomness. When we fix the dice, we basically we just throw away whatever the engine rolled and pick our numbers. So it's actually that's possible that we do have to randomly roll until we get a 5 or 6. I don't know if we have a way to tell the engine to roll a number yet. We probably should put that because it sometimes causes issues. Ball 1. All right. You can make it so it's always usable for now. Sure, that could be good for testing. All right. Here goes the batter. Oh, and it says we got there still. Okay. So I don't know if we can look at this nav mesh or this Navi guy. I don't know if I can see that. I've never really looked at all this business. He thinks that he's there, but obviously he's not. I think it's that he thinks he's going to the. He's already where he is, basically. So there's actually probably a way for NavMesh agent to tell us when you get somewhere. I don't know. I haven't used this a lot, so there's probably events that you can hook up to, and maybe what we'll do instead of this is we'll just output how far it thinks it is. And we'll see what it's doing. All right, blah, blah, blah. Roll some dice. Yeah, so see the engine actually rolled a 5, but we're like, no, you should use this, which doesn't work for all the abilities. Oh, I forgot to yield in my coroutine, and Unity's going to crash. Someone in the chat should have told me. Infinite loop. Frozen Unity. Force quit. These are the days of our lives. And now there's the giant screen of infinite Johns. So yes, watch out for infinite loops. Unity does not do well with that. And also, sometimes it's just like, I'm just not going to open. I'm just going to do that. And then I'm like, all right, I will change a file and maybe you will open. Let's try this again. I'm trying to point to the infinite Johns, didn't work. I think I mirrored. Okay, let's try it again. I removed the infinite loop. That was exciting. Guess I have to restart my computer or something. This is actually the layout I usually use, but it's not as good for this. Excuse me, for the stream. Oh, I don't have the right scene open and everything. I'm going to combine these into one and open game view. And we'll add that scene as well, because it looks nice. And it's going to load it anyway. All right. Shall we once more into the breach? What? Oh, I don't have my dice fixed again, and oh, that's definitely what I wanted to paste in there. All right, fix the dice. Ball 1. Save it. Ah, yes, if you're in Europe, you can watch this in the evening. That's where Europe or Africa, Darren, 2500 must be. I enjoy those time zones. Though, like doing Sentinels Live starting at midnight or 1 a.m. is pretty rough. Sometimes I was sleepy. You probably noticed. All right. Now we have, see, okay, so why are we getting all these numbers? Where's this other number coming from? Oh, that's from the pitcher walking around. So it does, we are getting numbers that's, yeah, it starts at 0 and then on the next frame it updates. So that's the problem there. So we actually need to just wait a frame before checking. That's all it is. And what we can actually do here is, ooh, that might be dangerous. Yeah, wait a frame before checking distance because nav mesh agent will think we're there already. I think you just yield return null. You don't need to do this wait frame to frame all the time. We'll see. So let's just do this and see if our first distance check actually does what we want. And yeah, I'm going to put in this so I can click on the thing in the console, and because we have 2 of them walking because the pitcher walks as well. All right, bloop blop. We'll keep those dice, and we'll do this. All right, so the first distance should be not 0. Good. All right, so I feel comfortable now getting rid of this and waiting until we get there. We can still keep this break in here just to see if it happens at a good time. And yeah. Okay, clicky click. Go, batter, go. I want 3D. Oh, it's happening. Ooh, frame rate is rough with OBS going. The batter got there, and he's gonna play his idle animation. And he's actually not playing an idle animation, but why are you not playing idle animation? He's just sitting there, but in theory, he stopped walking, so, oh, it paused again, that's why. I want to pause, there. We'll probably want a different sort of setup for the runners as opposed to holding out a non-existent bat, but you know. You always have to take things one step at a time, right? Oh, right, it paused because the pitcher got to their spot. So, all right. So, cool. So we have the batters going to first base, walking. It's not going at a different speed yet, but we'll sort that out. I feel like that's pretty good. We don't have, like it doesn't wait to see, you know, it doesn't wait to watch that happening, but that's sort of another bigger thing we need to look at dealing with. So I'm not going to try to solve that here. But I am going to try and just like do a walk that actually we need to do a walk that isn't hit by pitch. So that was happening with hit by pitch. And it's right now not going to be happening with a walk. And so what we need to do here is, if we're advancing because of 4 balls, we also want to do that. And actually, in this case, this is actually the same case. And so I'm going to move this logic all together and have these two cases both have the same logic. So that works for me. So let's, and I don't think, well, let's see what else. So what else happens with the hit by pitch animation? Right, there's sort of some funny things, and I think probably what we want to do here is that, like, hide the bat no matter what if they are going along and for that reason. So, all right, so let's try throwing a walk. And so we're going to want to not throw ball ones with this pitcher, but we can have the batter just take 4 balls. And I will say that that is a decent chunk of the way towards that feature. So let's see. So this isn't going to matter. We will roll a ball 2, keep those dice. The batter rolls a 1 and gets a ball. This stuff here where it shows ball, that's like a placeholder. It's going to look way cooler. Don't worry about that. You might notice that the dice always roll in the same way for the same result. And that is actually intentional. And it's so that what's happening there is, and this is again, this goes again to the sort of concept of you know, what's happening in the game is controlled at a lower level, and then what you're seeing on the screen is being driven by that. And so, you know, we're not doing like you don't roll the dice with physics and then it tells the game engine what the roll was, because you can't necessarily do that, right? If you're playing multiplayer with someone, you know, you need to find out what their roll was, you know. So it's you can't like send the roll to them, because that's like you need to basically have a trusted source for the roll, and so that's one of the reasons we're doing things that way. And so we actually like recorded a bunch of animations of dice rolling that we use, and there are there's actually multiple variations for some of them, but when you have 2 dice rolling, the number of combinations of animations is very high. So for right now, we just have, basically for any outcome, there's one animation for the 2 dice, and then we actually have more animations for the single die that we don't have in there yet. But so something that you have to think about when you're doing, basically the visuals are being driven by something else, and so the information has to be a one-way flow sometimes. All right, so here we have a walk. The batter walks. OMG. It's always good when one of the fun things about making games is you're like making stuff show up on the screen, and it's nice. No, go back. This is why I like to have my scene view open at the same time, because stop switching away from me. So the batter goes to first base. I don't really want to fix this. Maybe this is not, like that's the animation to like replace the pitcher. So yeah, the batter's over there. He's turned in a funny direction, but that's something Jen and I need to figure out is what's going on there. Cool. So in theory, actually, if I go and walk another batter, the second batter should both walk. So let's do that. We'll confirm. Oh, we haven't. Something is wrong there, because I just continued the game, but I have 2 batters. Oh, that's because, okay, because I continued from that relief part, and there was a batter added there. We actually don't want to add a batter if we continue at that spot. Interesting. Let me just make a note of that. Don't add an active batter. Continuing from increase our fatigue. Change pitcher state. Okay. I mean, we probably shouldn't add an active batter if there already is one. Generally, safety check, don't add an active batter if there already is one. And it should just be like, show a warning or error. That's an issue. If that happens, we should know about it and prevent it from happening, as opposed to just failing. Or instead of just like skipping it, we should make sure that it isn't a thing that we're trying to do in the first place, if that makes sense. Okay, so here we're resuming from the normal pitch token state, so we're fine. So I'm going to keep throwing balls and see. So the idea here is the runner on first base should move to second base, and the batter should move to first. I think it might be backwards, but I think if the batter runs to second base, it will look hilarious, and so that's what I want to see. All right, 2 balls. You get a lot of looks at the animation. Still rough, but the idea that, and I was thinking I might do on the stream today, depending on if there's time. Like this animation here, sort of supposed to slow down. Sort of, he's winding up, and you're rolling the dice while the pitch is sort of being thrown. But we have to wait because you might just sit there and look at it for 5 minutes. So this animation sort of goes like this idea when you're choosing your abilities is like the last moment before the pitcher lets go of the ball, right? Like that's the idea. I don't know what the ball's not even there. And then when the ball's traveling towards the plate, we want to do like a swoop around and like sort of slow down as well, while the batter, like sort of when the ball is about halfway to the plate, the batter's like, this is when they're deciding whether to swing. Like that's what the role is the batter thinking like, how am I going to swing? And how hard am I going to swing? Or am I going to not swing? And so that's what that role is, and the same thing, these modifiers are sort of in that same mental time period for the batter, and we want to sort of represent that with a cool animation. But right now it just sort of pauses and stops in the middle. So yeah, so that's sort of, if you're wondering sort of why is it sort of split up like that, it's because it's split up like that so that we can then tune it into the timing and everything. So like if you go through it quickly, it's sort of like should just sort of happen. That's kind of the idea. But I don't think like you can't. All right, here we go. Yep, he's going to second base. And the other guy's just staying at first. All right, well, okay. I think I know what's going on there, but that's totally cheating. What's happening there is the runners are listed in, like, there's a list of runners and there's a list of bases, and we're adding to the end of the runners, but we need to be adding to the start. We need to be inserting them. So instead of, it's actually right here, base runners dot insert at 0, I think. Instead of adding it to the end, basically it's sort of trying to line up with, the batter, the first batter in the runners, the first runner, actually, well, I guess the first runner is always the one that's coming from home plate, the batter, and then so on. So we probably have to have a better way of representation, because you can have empty bases in the middle with a certain batter in the game, but and I think there's another place where, right, so this is at the start of the game, it's just creating them, and that's fine. And here, this actually needs to be inserted at 0, too. And that should keep the, yeah, so in the run rolls view is what was working fine. And I was like, how is that working? But it's working fine because it was creating a list and adding the batter first and then the other ones. Because in this code here, it's not actually updating the base runners. It's creating a temporary list for the animation because, again, this is a special handling compared to the other thing. I don't know if my chat's not working or just no one's saying anything. Say something. So actually, I can go ahead and test this change, because now we have we've walked 2 batters. We're doing really terribly, and as the pitcher, and we can see if the new batter walks to third or to first. Right. Oh, and we're gonna have the same issue with double batters, so I'm just going to restart so that we don't have that double. What? I don't want the double batter. Come on. I probably was the wrong state. All right, we have 1 batter. We have 2 on base, which we can take a look in the scene view. There's that one, and there's that one. Good. And we will throw balls. All right, ball 1. I don't remember what I was getting into something before, and I can't remember what it was about. But we got to the ball 4, and then I forgot. Oh, I was thinking like a pitch in baseball happens faster than you can possibly go through your turn, basically, or both players can go through their turn, and so that's why we definitely need to have this sort of concept of like sort of a slow motion pitch where you're like, time slowing down for you like it does for a baseball batter, basically, and for the pitcher. So that's kind of the idea there. Even if you go through as fast as you can, it's not going to be as fast as like a baseball pitch, which is super fast. All right, here's ball 4, using up all my fatigue. All right, so batter walk to first. Cross our fingers here. Yay! Everyone's going where they're supposed to. Cool. Meeples are made of wood. Maybe they just don't throw as quickly. I mean, that's true. Cool. All right. I think that's good enough to commit. I think because we got the walk happening for the batter going to first. We did the hit by pitch thing as well. So there's the main thing left there is dealing with the sort of showing that animation fully instead of continuing on to do whatever else it was going to do. And so I'm just going to verify what my changes are, because you always want to do that. Make sure you're committing what you think you are. Because I mean, I don't actually want to commit this change to game view with my debug stuff. So, and we're going to rearrange things so that's not part of the scene. It's like a separate asset or whatever instead of that. So you don't need to worry about it. Because that's a thing that can easily conflict, and that's annoying. Okay, so I'm going to commit these, and I'm going to say this is support batter / batter walking to first, as well as other runners advancing for regular walk and hit by pitch. And that is not how you spell regular. Cool. All right. And let's go over to my Trello card. And I'm going to say, I'm just going to say that's good, but I'm going to add another card, which is walk animation. Walk. Not everyone on the team knows baseball very well, so wait for walk animation. I write long commit titles. If you think that's long, that is not long. I tried, like, one sentence is where I go for. If you want to know, like, you want to be able to look at your history and have an idea of what a commit message is, as opposed to like change 2, change 3, derp, foo. That is not, like, you will hate yourself in the future if you do that. So to complete before moving on. And this might be something as simple as, like, when we go to that state of, when the pitch is over, we just have a fixed amount of time that we wait to show some animation or something like that. So we'll figure out how that's going to work. So I've been told, yes, don't future hate yourself. If you want to look at our history, basically you should be able to sort of read a bit of a story. Some of them are simpler, like update the DLL or whatever, but it should have some, a good, reasonable idea of what it is. I don't think that's long. That is not a long message. Oh, I don't use description versus title. There's just one string. Maybe I'm a bad Git citizen, but I don't do that. I just type this, and I don't use this field. All right. Fair enough. Okay, so Jean-Marc committed something, and I think I made a change here. Right. And text to Kiddo Heroes. Is that Kiddo Hero? I think so. Show me, I don't know if we can show more. Yeah, that is Kiddo Heroes. And we have saving the blind token choosing and temporary change to force reroll. Okay, so let's push my change up there. Yeah, I typed it wrong. That's okay. It's a commit message. And I need to rebuild the DLL here. Okay. Let's go back to Trello and say, yeah, we're doing that now. All right, so we had an issue with both of the things. So let's see, let's go back to the blindly, choose tokens blindly aspect. Okay, kiddo hero. And do the dice have to be fixed for that? I can't remember. We can see when we run here and see. Oh, and I don't actually want to continue the game, or it's not going to be what I think it is. All right. If the swing result is a 5 or 6 versus a strike, that's the reroll part, but we want the other part, it doesn't matter. So we just have to get both. So I'm going to pick high and inside, and the batter's like totally fooled. I get ball 2. I don't really care what the result's going to be. All right, so blindly is false, but when the batter goes, blindly is true. Will it be saved? Let's find out. Continue game. False for the pitcher, true for the batter. Well done, Jean-Marc. Okay, so now we need to actually make this happen. I haven't really thought too much about how this will happen. Maybe it just skips it. Maybe it gives you a big button with a big question mark. I'm not sure. That's a good question. In the physical game, you have, I don't have the game with me, but you have tokens, right? And so you like choose the token. I don't have a token with me. I have business cards. Need a prop. So you have business cards, and you're like, you know, secretly deciding which is in your hand, and then you're like, ha, revealed or flip or however you want to do it. But so with Kiddo Hero, the batter has to just like randomly shuffle them in their hands and put them on the table. So it really, like, it's random. And that actually, I'm not sure if the engine could just choose them randomly for us. This is something I probably want to talk to Jean-Marc about. Or the view could randomly choose one. So that's something to think about. I think for me, like, I'm fine with the engine choosing them randomly for us, and then we just show something like you have chosen wisely or poorly, potentially, because we don't really have. I mean, we have the pitch tokens in the UI, but they're not like a major factor, because you really get to, like, in the video game UI, you get to actually pick the strike zone location, and that's actually what I think about. Even that's what it's representing, and that's really what you're picking. And when you're choosing the pitch tokens, is you're choosing a strike zone sort of quadrant. So, you know, as a pitcher, you're choosing where am I going to pitch. You know, I'm going to go high and away, and the batter is basically, from their perspective, guessing where they think the pitcher. You know, even though it's simultaneously, it is like, you know, the pitcher is the one who's in control of where the ball goes. The batter is trying to guess that. So it's even though both are choosing, it's more of a one player's in control of the physicality. John Mark says, I like the idea of the pitch tokens spinning around and they stop on 2 random sides or something like that. All right, I think this might need some more thought. I'm trying to think if I want to like try to do something about it now, or not. We can certainly like put something in so that it will proceed. Because right now, like you can click on something and the game's gonna be like, that's what you picked, but that's not. The user shouldn't be able to actually pick something. Even like if you think of the user being someone who's hacking the game, shouldn't be able to choose something. So I'm definitely probably in favor of the engine picking randomly for us as opposed to the view picking. But we can do something at least for now. Oh, I went too far. I went too far. So let's see. Let's restart the game here and get back to that state, and then we'll put something in so that you basically just get a button which is like you choose your fate. And then we'll improve it later. What did I pick? I forgot. Did I pick that? Nope. Sometimes this happens. Users cannot be trusted, Darren 2500 says. That is for sure. Especially in a competitive game. I'm going to go ahead and just pick my ace pitch and then pick the opposite. All right, we'll go here and get to that state. Tell the user to close their eyes and tap on the screen. I'm not sure about that. All right, so here instead of showing this UI, we need to actually do something else. So basically, if we don't want to select blindly, we do the normal thing. To do, the engine should have already chosen for us. Question mark? Or ask the engine to do it or something. Flip your phone in the air like you just don't care. Citizen asks, will the stream be up on YouTube or Twitch video on demand? I think that is the plan. So the main thing is we want to make sure that pitch token selector is not there, and for now I'm just going to put like a button, and then we'll just choose them randomly. We have a mechanism here for just like adding buttons, so I think that the basic or I guess we could have the pitch token selector have a way to just have a big button which is like blind. Maybe we'll do that. That might be nice. Actually, yeah, we still want to so yeah, actually instead of this we'll have the pitch token selector be in charge of it instead. Cytosine says, is that Komodo perchance? I don't know what you're asking. Yeah, we'll probably have some fun animations or whatever, but right, so here basically if we must select blindly, we're going to do something. I the actual buttons or something. This is Mono Develop, which comes with Unity. And the other one we use is Xamarin, which is the same but like more modernized for working on the non-Unity C# stuff. All right, so I'm going to go over here and switch this to 2D and go to my pitch token selector. Woohoo! All right, so what I'm going to do is add a new button to this to like pick a random one. I'm not sure if this is the right best UI, but it'll work for now and let us actually build this character. So so let's create a button, and we'll call it the blind button. And we're gonna make it fill. Let's explore the studio space. Let's make it fill the studio space. We'll Alt and Shift and fill it up. And we can just have this be like a question mark, I think, for now. Make it an absurdly large question mark. 3,000. I think we have another font. I don't know if they're all. We haven't set up the fonts and stuff really in this yet. And we want it actually. So in Unity UI, all the ordering, the Z ordering of UI stuff is based on the position in the editor. So we can just do that. Button says, "Help me, I'm blind." And yeah, let's go with that for now. And so that looks fine. I mean, I'm sure we'll do something else cooler, but right now we're looking we're more at the point of getting things to work as opposed to getting things to be awesome. So you got to get things to work first before they get awesome. And let's add a property here to access our field, I guess, to blind button. And we'll actually just go ahead and directly say it'll be on if it's must select blindly, if it's off otherwise. Let's see. So all this other stuff here is like this update button state call, and everything is configuring the buttons based on like the handiness of the batter, the ace pitch of the pitcher, and the fatigue level. So this is just going to cover all of those instead. And I'm also going to call this extension method set dynamic colors, which lets us excuse me, give it a color. And what I'm going to do is basically, if it's this picture I want it to be red, I don't know. It's just going to be it can just be the better color. We have where's my colors? It's the white color, the whitish color, and we'll do that. So this is a handy way to like say set a color and then like the highlight and pressed colors automatically get changed. The button says, "Help me, I'm blind." I'm not sure why there was an amen, but all right. We also need to have something to respond to the button being pressed. So this handler handles all the regular buttons, but I don't know if I want that. I think I want something different for the blind selection. So I'm just going to have a separate thing. Oh yeah, the amen is about getting it working and making it look nice, for sure. So we'll say blind button pressed, and we'll just put a little log here to make sure everything's hooked up. The goggles do nothing. Ho ho. All right, so let's go back to Unity. And so we're going to have to tell the pitch token selector about the button, and we're also going to have to hook up the button to that handler. So the blind button is this, and we can give it an on-click handler, back up to the control, and we'll choose the function blind button pressed. Yeah, so that looks good to me. And let's see, and we can probably just leave it off by default, but it doesn't really matter. Actually, we'll turn that off by default. Things get configured when we start the game, but always nice to leave things in a reasonable state. All right, so the pitcher gets to do his thing normally. Question mark! Cool. So, and when I click it, the goggles do nothing. So we need to actually have it do the thing. So we'll want to look and see what the other buttons do. So in bottom ninth, we have this sort of concept of activations. So, and this lets us handle multiple abilities that you can do in whatever order you want, which is pretty common in bottom of the ninth. And so in Sentinels, that's actually not the case generally. You generally have one kind of decision that you have to deal with, and then you proceed to the next decision and so on. So in bottom of the ninth, we have activations, and this is a control that's configured with a certain kind of activation, pitch tokens activation. And we want to basically give that pitch token activation the information that the user chose, which is like which direction and which location, and then tell it to proceed. And then that goes back to the game engine, and it does logic based on that and goes on to the next thing. Or maybe it doesn't do anything, depending on what it is. So maybe it's a skip activation or something. All right, so what we need to do, so if we look at the regular button, we figure out what's the location and direction, and we call the completion handler with the result. And so what we're just going to do right now is just randomly pick one. We are going to have to, we can only choose locations and activations that we're allowed to, though. So we need to make sure that we do that, because we can't just pick randomly, because we can't. Actually, I don't know. Actually, that's a question for Daryl and Mike. Can the batter blindly choose something that's impossible for the pitcher? Because in bottom ninth, if the pitcher runs out of fatigue in a certain direction or location, they can't pitch that side. So I don't know if the blind choice includes that. That is something that I need to ask. I'm just going to note it on the card here. And I don't know if Jean-Marc knows that answer or not, but we'll see. If the pitcher is fatigued, does the batter get that token for free, or is there a chance they pick it wrong? That might be in the FAQ. Also, we might have it in our own questions doc. To the internet. I think the only question about Kiddo Hero is about his name. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it's something we'll need to check. But for now, I'll randomly choose, and maybe you get something invalid, but you shouldn't, like in the regular UI, you're not allowed to pick the thing that is invalid. Just that's like, there's no benefit to doing that. And so there's just not, you just don't do it. But with this, maybe that makes the ability definitely more powerful. So we need to choose basically randomly between these things. So, and Unity has a random thing where we can just ask for two random numbers. So we want basically, I'd rather getting a random number, like a random number. If you ask random number generators to generate you a random number between 0 and 1, they get a little funny sometimes in my experience. So I'm actually going to ask for a random number between 0 and 1, and then interpolate between that. Because, yeah, I have run into that issue where like, and now actually with Sentinels, where like where we're choosing, like randomly choosing between two variants, and like when the range is so small, it heavily weights towards one of the ends. Sometimes some generators just don't work properly. So, all right, and Unity made their random class the exact same name as system random, and I don't like them for that. But I guess that's the obvious name of the class. So let's just choose a random number, and then sort of just there's only four options, right? So if random number is less than that, and this isn't necessarily the best way to do it, but it is a way to do it. This will be the four cases. And we can, and what I think I'm going to do is like, yeah, make this a method that I call with well, I don't know why I don't necessarily want to send that same analytics event. So yeah, we can do a similar thing. Okay. So I'll just do the different cases. If it's small, we'll say it is high. And if it's big, we'll say it's low. And if it's small, we'll do this. We'll just alternate these like this. I'm sure there's a much cleaner way to do this, but with the experience I have with random number generators, choosing like you would sort of, you think it'd be obvious, oh, just do random number between 0 and 1 and map it to the value of the enum, but I've had issues with that in the past, so I'm not going to do that. And I might write a comment to embed that in here. Choose a random number this way to avoid RNG issues with small ranges. Okay. And then we can get the direction. So I guess we don't need to worry about the randomness of the batter here. So maybe we'll just do it this way. This will be cleaner. The other thing is doing that way because like the left button and the right button, what they mean depends on whether depends on the handiness of the batter and of the pitcher and what state it is, basically. So it depends on the perspective that the screen is showing, basically. All right, so we have a direction and a location randomly chosen now. And oh, I'm going to throw this debug log in. Blind selection. Excuse me, so we can see what we got. And then we're just going to tell. And there's analytics in here, but that's what we're just testing that out for Unity's analytics, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's something for later. And yeah, I think that's going to do it. So let's see what happens. Most of game development is just seeing what happens. Oh yeah, the Forsaken one, there is a Sentinels of the Ninth expansion for Bottom of the Ninth that we will be doing. We don't have any cards implemented yet, but that is something that we're doing at some point. All right. So we had the question mark, and we clicked it, and something happened. It's output in the log here. We don't have any display of what happened, but obviously that's going to be important to show what happened. You sort of you can see what happened based on the output here, but yeah. So we did a blind selection away and low, and the batter won, the pitcher won. So yeah, we're the first print to ask if blind play allows you to play fatigue plays. Yeah, in the tabletop, usually when the pitcher's fatigued, you just put the token on the table and don't worry about it. But it's an edge case that we'll find out about. All right, so I think that's good. I think I have another card basically saying after the output, after the result of that phase, it should have an animation showing you who won basically, because that's going to be important. It used to, I had those images went down to the bottom, but actually I think they're there and they're covered up by something. But when I put these abilities in, that sort of got over top. But anyways, if you're wondering how will you know what happened, you will know what happened. Okay, so I think that is it's a first cut of the feature. It's functional. It doesn't have a fancy animation, but it gets the point across. So, and it lets you play the game. So we're going to commit that as the first iteration of that. And I'm just going to make a commit I like to have a separate commit for updating the DLL. Unless it's something, if I put it with other things, if it has some breaking changes, I need to make sure the build doesn't break. And I have changes to game view. Right, I don't want to keep my debug bits. So yeah, I'm just going to leave them for now, but that's something I need to clean up. So that shouldn't be part of the scene. That's kind of messy. And yeah, here's our blind button. Basic support for Kiddo Hero with an I. Blind pitch token ability. Okay. All right, so that is half. And let's get the ace pitch going. And that might be probably the end of the stream after doing that, I think, because it's been about 2 hours. So the ace pitch, to refresh, is the changeup. Right, and so Jean-Marc said it's just going to always show up or something. So let's see. And the main thing, we just need to make sure that that ability to reroll is something that you can do, or whether there's an ability to reroll or if it automatically makes you re-roll. We'll see what the UI looks like there. So we want, I believe we're going to want a 5 or a 6 natural and a strike, if I recall correctly. So, and it's oh yeah, he has to get the ability, so let's just restart the game. And it's a strike, and we'll say it's a 5 on the swing. Guys is definitely the thing that's easiest to bet Sentinels, so it probably is the same in bottom of the ninth, right? Probably not. Okay, right. So if I get my ace pitch, then I'm good to go. So let's go get the ace pitch. Doesn't matter what I have to have a strike. Right, and so here I get an error, and this is actually an error that we're throwing, which is abilities are always optional. Traits are not optional in bottom ninth, but abilities are. You can choose to not use this ability of the changeup. Like if for some reason you don't want them to do it, they cannot do it. So we need to have a way to let the user activate it. It's most likely that for a lot of them we're going to just say like we'll have an option that's like the ones that are obviously always good, they'll automatically activate. But just like Sentinels, you want to make sure that you have the full amount of choice in the game in the digital version as you do in the tabletop. So right, so in the ability view factory, so for each ability there's a view associated with it, and it's like I didn't find one for this, so hook me up. So it's the force reroll ability. So we're going to make a new view for this. And right now all these views are very simple. They're like a button, but they can be, we're planning to have them to be, a little more varied. So we're going to go and make a new class for this. So this is an ability view. We'll make a C# script called force reroll ability view. And it's probably just going to be a simple ability view, which is one that just has a simple button. So, and a lot of these are that, and they don't have much code to them, but we want to have the ability to have more code in the future, more likely the near future. But we'll make them simple, and that just lets us quickly get these abilities into the game so we can iterate on them. Okay, and then in fact, the factory needs to know about it. So we will make another case here. Force reroll ability controller, send out the force reroll ability view. And that should do it on the code side because the rest is configured in the view. We'll add that component to our factory here. Right now they all tend to use the same button, but obviously that's something we can mix up for different abilities. Ooh, why wouldn't you let me drag it? Okay, it does. It is a picture ability, and the title we'll call it is, we'll just name it after, I think it's called, this is a change up. Yeah. Change up. Lowercase up, uppercase up, I don't know. Get everything technically working first. That's right. Yeah, this is actually like the second iteration of the view of the game. The first thing I did was a scene that just like had very simple things and prototyped different interactions and stuff. That's gone now, but you want to really start with the basics. Make sure that your communication between the low levels is working the way you expect, and so on. So All right. Oh, like, what am I even doing? I need the ace pitch. Gotta be ace. All right, low and away, and the batter needs to not guess it. So he's got it. We roll. We got a strike. All right, so now we have a change-up button, and we can activate it. So that's sort of just activated. As I said, probably that'll just be automatically activated because there's really no reason. Well, that's the thing. Right now, there's no reason you would ever not want to use that. With the Clubhouse expansion that's going to be coming, with different things, maybe there's, more of a reason why you might not want to actually throw that change up. So let's keep the dice. And the batter must re-roll after a 5 and a 6. Or if they roll a 5 and a 6. Oh, it's still contact. So the engine actually rolled a 4. So we might have to try this a couple times. Oh wait, what's this? Is this the reroll? Oh, this is the reroll. No, this is an unopposed. This is Dan Martini's unopposed run roll, and that's why we had the test batter before, and I didn't put that in again. There's a lot of funny abilities in this game. Well, we can try a couple times to see if I can roll what I want. We might have to add that. The thing about having an ability to tell the engine what die to roll is definitely something that you don't want to expose in production, but we'll see. All right, test batter's got nothing. We throw the change up and roll to 1, really. And so we just get contact. Yeah, so that's kind of, I don't want to have to keep clicking this until I roll a 5 or 6. So I'm going to talk to Jean-Marc about having a way that we can basically force a die to roll a certain number, or I think he said something that it should automatically happen, but I don't see it happening. So I can save what I have though, because I've got the first part of it working, but not the rest of it. So we're going to say we add force reroll ability view, work in progress on Kiddo Heroes ace pitch. All right, so that's that, and we'll get that finished up later. So I don't know if there's anything else that we probably have time for. It's been over a couple hours, so there's other stuff that I was looking to potentially get to, but you never know how fast things are going to go. So I hope you enjoyed the watching of the development. We're thinking of probably making it potentially a weekly thing. Let me know what you thought about the screen quality of the video quality next week, or if we do it next week or the next time. I'm going to be on a much better internet connection, so I'll be able to probably stream at a higher resolution, so the text might be clearer. Anything anyone wants to see in the Unity scene or anything, yeah, let me know, or any questions before I finish up here. We're also looking to, have some dev streams with Jean-Marc, with music and other programming, with Jennifer, with doing animations and graphic stuff, and not necessarily just bottom of the ninth. There's also stuff we can do with Sentinels. So I can fly around. You can see all the mysterious ways that things are put together in this. So the UI, you notice, is like over here. One of the tricks you can do in Unity is say a camera only gets to see certain things. And so there's a UI camera that just sees this. There's a background camera that just sees this. There's a dice camera that just sees dice, for example. The Forsaken one asks, I presume it's a mobile view you're coding, hence the narrow vertical screen. That is correct. We're focusing the first version on phones, but we're building it in a way that we're planning to support landscape as well. And so that's why I'm working in a vertical view here. I'm just going to switch over to landscape. This is not working in landscape yet, but I'll show you the idea of what we're going to be doing for landscape is basically that, I don't know if I can maximize. So the rough idea is that the main interface of the game is still going to be in the middle, but you'll just get to see more. And you'll also get, there'll be more auxiliary information when you're in a landscape mode, like on an iPad or on Steam or something like that. That's kind of the idea. It's still not 100%. Like we're focusing on the phone version. You can see some of the layout stuff is all mixed up and stuff. Darren 2050 asks, why is the first version on mobile? Mainly because this is a quick game. Like it is a quick playing game that is a little more casual than Sentinels, a little more, easy to learn, easy to jump into. And so, and it's really a game that you can play at the ballpark or play on the train or whatever. So it's very, very well suited to a phone. And the market for apps on phone is really big. So we're not like discounting Steam or anything, but it's definitely not a game that is like Sentinels is really good on Steam because people sort of, when you sit down to play a game on a computer, you sort of feel like you're going to sit down for half an hour or an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours and play a game. But this isn't. I mean, you can do that with Violent Lines, but you're probably not going to do that. It's a game where it's even on a tabletop, it's like 15 minutes, and so it's going to be on digital, it's going to be 5 minutes to get through a game, right? So it's a very much more quick experience. And so while we will bring it to Steam, we think it's going to be best on phone, and that's where we want to put our best foot forward. So there's a long-winded answer to that question. So as you can see, we are thinking about what it's going to work like on landscape, but it's not what we're focusing on, and so it doesn't really work. Not yet. And usually when I'm working in Unity, I have like the scene view and the game view at the same time, so I can get two perspectives on what's going on. But when my resolution's lower here, it was definitely easier to pop them together so that I can have a bigger game view. That's more important on Sentinels, I think, where we use NGUI and it doesn't work as well to not have the split view like that. So, all right, so I think that's probably going to be it. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you think about it. Maybe send us a tweet or write it in the YouTube comments when you see those up. And what did you like? What you don't like? The sort of level of detail. Was it good? Was it too much? Would you rather me shut up? And we'll see. I didn't put music because I don't really listen to music when I'm working, and I thought it would be distracting. So in the game, we'll have music, but it won't be taken out of the ball game in a constant loop. Cool. Definitely bring your questions for Sentinels to Sentinels Live, and maybe we'll do some. We'll probably do some Sentinels dev streams too. But I think we wanted to get Bottom of the Ninth going because on the dev stream, because it's sort of the first look at some of this stuff without being like official screenshots. So hope you liked it, and I'm going to sign off. So thanks for watching.